God has brought me laughter. Second, God has brought me laughter. Wow. That's what Sarah said. Look at chapter 21, verses 1 through 4. Chapter 21. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah, as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abram in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. Abram named him Isaac, and on the 8th day of his birth, circumcised him as God commanded him. God's promise for a son had come true. It was a long-awaited son, 25 years. How happy they were. It was a glorious and victorious moment for this couple. This passage zeroes in on how they, the husband and the wife, responded to this great blessing. How did Abram, the husband, respond? The passage focuses on how Abram, in the time of God's great blessing, obeyed God's instructions. He named his son Isaac and circumcised him on the 8th day according to God's instruction. This shows that at this great blessing, Abram was not carried away. He was not carried away by his own desires either. Instead, in the time of blessing, as the head of the family, he kept God at the center of his family, doing everything God asked him to do. Often, people conveniently forget about God when things go well with their life. When your dreams come true in the matter of marriage, in the matter of job, or in the matter of babies, don't get carried away by such things. Instead, in the time of blessing, remember God who gave you such great things. And keep God's command. Especially all husbands, be men before God as the head of the family by obeying God's will. How did Sarah respond? Before mentioning about her response, the passage testifies that it was very personal grace given to Sarah, saying, the Lord was gracious to Sarah, as he had said. And the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. For Sarah, it was indeed more than just having a victory in her life, but very personal grace of God she experienced, which she would never forget. She would be eternally thankful to God for this grace. Once Sarah expressed her fatalism and deep despair, saying to her husband, the Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my maidservant. Perhaps I can build a family through her. Who could understand her agony that she, all on her own, put her maidservant in the arm of her husband? She waited and waited for God to give her a son. But when she passed menopause, she finally gave up all hope for a son. That even when God told her that she would have a son, she laughed with a silly smile. She didn't believe. But now she really laughed, saying, God has brought me laughter. She had been humiliated for the past 60 years. Even her maidservant despised her. Who could understand her agony, sorrow, and despair? Who could make her laugh? No one. But God brought her laughter and made her smile brightly. She became a happy woman because of God. For her, Isaac, her son, was God's seal of approval, like the sign of God's personal love for her, which all people could see very clearly. No one could deny it. She was not a cursed woman, but a blessed woman, loved by God so personally. So in all things from that time on, she became very confident in her words and actions. She said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who would hear about this will laugh with me. That confidence, how people would be happy about it, with her about this. She summed up her entire life testimony in 2 sentences and shared it, saying, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children, yet I have borne him a son in his old age. Wow, check out her language here. Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children, yet I have borne him a son in his old age? Her confidence, she was willing to challenge anyone, really. And she was very charismatic now. Who would have said? Wow, her view changed completely. As a result, her attitude, her words and actions, everything changed. She became a different person by experiencing God's love personally this way. Having laughter. This is the very expression of true victory in life. The one who laughs in the end is the winner. And all people's real desire is that they would be the winners. They want to laugh in the end. So they struggle hard to grab what they want. They pursue what they desire. And once they get it, it seems that they laugh. They find a seemingly promising job at a young age. They marry so early in their age. But usually, the laughter they have produced is not the real laughter. Soon their laughter turns to quarreling, strife, and disappointment. At the challenges of life, their laughter disappears so quickly and even turns into anger, depression, and nightmares. How can we really laugh? How can we become real victors in our life in this world? Sarah says, God has brought me laughter. When God brings you laughter, you are real victors. You are real winners. So we want God to bring us laughter. And how? That things will work that way. That finally God brings us laughter. Then when we are about to die, we smile beautifully and we are ready to go home any moment. How can it be real victories? Isaac was more than a son to Sarah. Isaac was the fruit of Abraham and Sarah's 25 years life of holding on to God's promise. Sometimes they were really depressed. Sometimes they wept so painfully. Sometimes they were almost blown away. But somehow they overcame all difficulties inwardly and outwardly. They hold on to God's promise firmly as if it were their lifeline. They fought the spiritual battle of believing in God's promise for them wholeheartedly. And after 25 years struggle, they finally saw God fulfilling His promise in their life. That way, they won the complete victory. The victory was indeed sweet, and they really laughed. This is how we can be real victors. This is what actually Christian life is about. Those who hold on to God's word of promise and live by it sometimes look stubborn. And they look like losers. Sometimes they go through painful moments of self-denial, weeping and mourning. But when God's word is fulfilled, they are the ones who truly laugh. Jesus mentioned about this, how He wants His believers live their life successfully, saying, if you hold to my teaching, you are really my disciples. He also says, remain in me, and I will remain in you. If a man remains in me, and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Now remain in my love. If you obey my commands, you will remain in my love. Holding on to God's word and living by it is what real Christian life is about. This life struggle will lead us to a victorious life. This is the narrow path and narrow gate, and only few people find it. Hold on to God's word. Remain in Jesus, and God will bring you real laughter.